Well, sure, I would love to sell off one of my wine vineyards and put in $150 million of my own money to this movie that's not going to do well at the box office. Why wouldn't I want to do that? Megalopolis, released last year in 2024, and is directed by Francis Ford Coppola, who's known for directing several of the greatest films that have ever been made, such as The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2, Apocalypse Now, The Conversation, but he's not immune to releasing some stinkers like The Godfather Part 3. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Hooah! She had a big ass! And this film is starring Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Natalie Emmanuel, Aubrey Plaza, Shia LaBeouf, John Voight, Lawrence Fishburne, Catherine Hunter, and Dustin Hoffman shows up in there. And the reason why we're talking about Megalopolis today, the only reason why I would be revisiting this movie from last year is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a longtime contributor and supporter of this channel, Dr. Camp. Thank you very much for your support, your ever-dying support. You've been supporting me for so many years here on YouTube. Thank you very much. And you know what? Thank you. Thank you for recommending this movie, because after I watched it last year and thought it was just one big gigantic pile of shit, I put it on my top 10 worst films of 2024. It's nice to go back to just reassure yourself of the decisions that you made in your past sometimes. And watching it this time around, yeah, I made the right decision and putting it on my top 10 worst films of 2024 last year. I really hope that I never watch this movie again, because I don't want to. I have no inclination to. So thank you very much, Dr. Camp, for the support. If anyone else out there also wants to be like Dr. Camp and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out, just like what I did with Dr. Camp here. In a futuristic alternative United States timeline, New Rome is dominated by an elite group of patricians who claim to have the best interests of the people of New Rome in their hearts, but they all live lavish and extravagant lives while the majority of people living in New Rome are living in poverty. Well, this story focuses on patrician architect Caesar, who's discovered a new building material by the name of megalon and uses it to build buildings. And oh, by the way, Caesar can stop time whenever he wants. But that time stoppage power is in question once he meets and starts dating and is infatuated with Julia, who is the daughter of Caesar's patrician rival in this city, Franklin, who basically wants to do everything the opposite that Caesar wants to do. So it's two political parties, and then Shia LaBeouf comes in there and wants to take down Caesar because fuck him, that's why. And God. And then Caesar gets his time powers back because Julia, fulfills something inside of him, and then people are killed. There's heists here and conspiracies happening over there. And then a baby is born, and Franklin and Caesar are like goody-goody two-shoes now because family and shit. Oh my God. I would think that reading up on the history of how this film got made is way more interesting and way more exciting than sitting down and actually trying to get through this movie. Watching this movie is... And I wouldn't know from experience because I've never been high before. I've never been on drugs. The most I've ever done is gotten, shit-faced drunk. So I guess in my history, I would say it's something like that, where you're super drunk and you just have all of these thoughts going here and there and doing all these things with your body here and there that you have no control over. That's the pacing, that's the storytelling of this movie. You really have no idea what's happening because we go from one thing and then all of a sudden we flash to another thing and then we go back to this thing and then we flash to another thing and then we're back into this thing. At one point, Adam Driver, who plays Caesar in this movie, he has a drug dream, he takes something and he's freaking out, man. The colors and the lights and his mind, his body is doing all these different things, but you would never really know that he's on a drug dream because the rest of the editing style of this movie is basically the same as when he's going through a drug trip. But I know the reason why this movie is if we can call it famous. The reason why this movie got made and why it had a spotlight on it for a very minimal amount of time is because Francis Ford Coppola has had this idea for this movie for over a decade, and he's been pushing to get this film made over and over and over again. Just no studio wants to buy in on it. No producer wants to support him. No one wants to buy into it. So Francis Ford Coppola decides to put all of his money, and he's going to self-fund it himself. He's going to sell off one of his vineyards that he has, which that's such... It's such an elitist thing to say, like, oh, I had to sell off one of my vineyards to pay for the movie that I'm making. Oh, woe is me. The economical chances I take on myself, my vineyards. And then it also turns out that this movie only made like $20 million for its entire theatrical run. And there were talks and trailers and previews about this movie coming to digital on certain streaming platforms, but that has been completely erased. It is not available anywhere. So how did I get to watch it, you may ask? Well, I'm not telling you. But this movie also made the news. Basically, this movie made the news for all the wrong reasons, because there were some stories and some allegations being thrown towards Francis Ford Coppola, who, during the party scenes, would walk around to all of the extras to show them how to, you know, dance and how he wants them to behave in the club scene. So he would be dancing with all of these women, and he'd be grabbing them and kissing them forcefully, and he would get on the microphone to say, I'm going to be doing this so everyone knows, and please know it's not for your pleasure, it's for mine. These are exact words that he said. There's footage of it. Whether you want to believe this happened or not, it's irrelevant, because there's proof of that actually happening, and the fact that that did happen and that the person in power of this project was shoving his weight around to force himself onto people like that, it's pretty fucking shitty in my opinion. So I'm not going to recommend this movie to you just for that reason alone, but if you want to get into the filmography reasons why this film should not be viewed, I mean, again, just listen to me talk about the editing choices here. Shia LaBeouf is doing his Shia LaBeouf things where he's making all of these weird choices because it's the non-conventional choice to make, which is such a bullshit thing that actors use nowadays. Everyone does the same thing over and over again, but I'm over here making the new choices and the different choices, the choices that no one else is gonna make, because it's different. Different does not equate an appropriate decision-making when making the choices for the character that you're portraying. Sorry. Oh, what do I know? He's more famous than I am, so works for him. Aubrey Plaza is in here doing something. Like, she's trying to seduce this character of Caesar, and she's a film reporter, and she sleeps with Jon Voight, and is messing around with Shia LaBeouf. She is just wacky and all over the place, and I don't like it. Natalie Emmanuel tries to be like the straight person, the one that the audience is viewing this story through their eyes, like we're learning about these things through her. It's just not connectable at all. I'm sorry. Adam Driver is... I like him as an actor, and I think what he does here is the best of what he could do with what is given to him, I guess. I'm so confused about this whole time stoppage thing. There are some times visually with the CGI when he is able to stop time. He has this moment with Natalie on top of these rails, like above in the sky, skyscrapers everywhere. They're off there. That's like a beautiful scene. Like the imagery there is really nice. See, I'm trying to find the positives in here. I'm not just trying to batch this thing like crazy. There are some glimpses of beautiful moments in here, but it's not redeeming the entire thing. Those moments up in the sky with them kissing and dancing and learning how to time stop with each other. Okay, beautiful moment. And then we move right back into the shit that is this movie. Really, the only saving grace of this movie is the narration of Lawrence Fishburne. He plays the caddy, the butler to Caesar in this movie, I guess. And he's narrating it. Love his voice. I could listen to him read anything, so, you know, that's comforting. But in the end, I'm sorry, for me, this story is just confusing, and things happen in here because I felt like Francis Ford Coppola was having a drug dream, and then all of a sudden while writing it went like, ooh, wouldn't that be cool if that happened, ha 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 ha, and then ooh, another idea, just random, but I'm putting it in here. I can appreciate an artist really getting behind their idea and feeling very passionate about it and wanting to put it out there in the world for them to consume and for them to develop their ideas about said art that you feel passionate about. I love it when an artist feels like that. Though if an artist is putting it out there in the world, and the world is paying their hard-earned money to go see it or to view that art, then that world, that person, that audience member has the right to say what they want to say about said art. So here I am, saying what I want to say about this art. This film is shit. I'm sorry, I hated this thing. I'm gonna give Megalopolis 1 out of 5 Blu-rays.
What? No!
So guys, if you somehow seen Megalopolis, maybe when it was in the theater, or maybe you found it streaming somewhere, I don't know, I wasn't able to, but am I wrong in my assessment of this movie? Should this film be celebrated for its originality and its original ideas and the self-funding campaign behind this director who forced himself onto extras in the club scenes? Should we like this movie? I don't know. I don't think so, but whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell to know the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.